You are listening to another edition of the Bloody Legends with Jai That Aussie Metal Guy and Jim Taylor. Don't you forget to be a legend when you hit that like and subscribe. G'day, how you all going? It is Jai That Aussie Metal Guy and my awesome co-host Jim Taylor of the Bloody Legends podcast. And today we have Travis here from Nine Left Dead to talk all about the latest single and the forthcoming EP and all things Nine Left Dead. Travis, cheers for joining us, mate.
Indeed, sir.
Cheers, guys. Appreciate you having it on.
Absolute
Hell
pleasure,
yeah.
man. Absolute pleasure. Fucking really digging the music. Sean has always got her finger right on the pulse with good bands and represents some amazing acts. Can you tell us a little bit about how this all began first, mate?
Yeah, well, kind of was a really weird start, and I started playing music a long time ago just to get into it because I had actually gotten diagnosed with leukemia and was stuck in a hospital all the time. So I picked up a guitar. It was a good way to pass time and started learning music. And then my mom and my cousin's mom knew we both played music, and they made us start a band together. We didn't really have a choice in it, and that's how we got to started this band.
Yeah,
but it worked out good.
Cool.
It definitely would have been a real impactful time for you there, Travis, saying, dealing with leukemia as well. I can kind of really gel to that, and probably why I've kind of really connected to a lot of your songs, because I'm in the middle of a cancer battle myself as well, man. What was it like going through that time and just having that music to kind of lean on and kind of express these emotions you're going through?
Oh man, I'm putting the best of wishes out there for you for starting that. But yeah, it was essential, honestly. Like I had to have something, and it's just I was so dark at the time from dying, didn't understand it because I was pretty young, but still like it made me grow up. It took me out of basically having a childhood, and so it was essential to have something to cope with, instead of keeping all these crazy thoughts in my head. So I just started writing them out on paper, and then learned to play the guitar. And I was like, well, I mean, hell, I'm at this point, I may as well start writing songs. And it was the best way to vent and cope with it, honestly, to get it out of my head. So it wasn't something that was just devastating to me all the time. And it was actually something that would help me. And then it was cool for the first time, you start getting out there playing the music and getting a chance to put it out there in front of people, and people to come up and be like, tell you what it means to them. So that was always like, it was good that I knew what it meant to me, but I never really talked about what I wrote the songs about, because I always loved the concept of music being able to be relatable to anybody, and the story be for them, not just what my story's about. So it was really essential. I had to do it or I was going to go crazy.
That's cool. Right.
Yeah, most definitely. Did you want to chuck anything there, Jim?
No. I was going to say, so the writing process is very personal for you. Like it was a way of like a release, to kind of escape what was happening with you, brother.
Yeah, no, it's even crazier too, because I've kept like everything I've ever wrote, and I have so many of those little weird Walmart notebooks laying around, and I actually like to dive back into them every once in a while and just read stories or journaling, whatever it was. Everything was always wrote in like poem song form for me, anyways. That's how I wrote. And like to read it now, like being older, like I sit around things like, man, like because like suicide prevention is a big deal to me too. So like going back and seeing this stuff, I'm like, I didn't realize how dark I was as a kid. It's like I'm glad I made it out of that space, but it's like, man, it's crazy to see how twisted and dark of the things that we're going through at that time. I'm gonna remember half of them, which is probably a coping mechanism itself to like subconsciously forget a lot of it. But it's cool. I've actually dove into a few lyrics and put them into newer songs too, just because like, man, even weirder is like at that age, like 9 to 16 years old, I'm going through all this stuff, like to know, go back and look at these lyrics and be like, man, I could actually write some things. It's pretty crazy to begin with. So it's cool to be able to see things that kind of stood the time for me to be able to translate them into new songs too. So
would that explain a song called One Last Day you do?
Yeah.
Is that what's the background behind that, boss?
I wrote that literally when I was going through kind of towards the end of my treatment, honestly, because I went into remission pretty quick, but it's still a scary process the whole time. And so like towards the end of it, like I was just sitting around thinking, what would have happened, like to just if it would have ended, and like life had been over, like, and then it made me think about all the people that I had actually made friends with through this. Like I went to some camps and stuff like that, some cancer camps, and met some really good friends. And through that process, you lose people, like there's a lot of people that go out of remission, and so you lose a lot of people. And so that's kind of about the concept of how you lose loved ones and the stuff I was going through personally, and like, you know, if it had been over, like, what would you do just for one last day with the people you love, you know? And it's just kind of the thing.
Beautiful.
For me, it was about friends that I'd lost. You know, I was like, man, I'd give anything just to be with you guys one last day. You know, just one more moment together. You know?
Dude, it's a killer song too, and but
Thank you.
You could feel there was something there.
It definitely hit me in the feels too. I actually had teared up listening to that, dude, because
oh, dude,
I totally got every single word of that song, and right now going through this battle as well, like, you know, it must be a really cathartic experience hearing these stories, not only from me, but from people all over the world going, hey, man, I've listened to this song and, you know, it made me tear up and cry. And it really, it hit everything that I was feeling at this point, that track did, you know what I mean? And it's really an emotional track, and it must be good for you to hear this, not only because of the battle you've been through, but being able to have an impact on other people's lives.
Yes. Yeah, because I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's why I've been through music and stayed with music for so long. Because it ain't like it's never been an easy journey per se, staying with music. Because like you spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of heartache,
a lot of
money.
And
there's always things like this that make it worth it. A lot of money, yeah. And it's stories like that, you know, like knowing people like you go through it, hear the songs, it makes every single bit of everything we've ever gone through, the hardships of it, worth it. Like every time, you know, just those are things that we need as musicians, and to just reiterate why we do it. It's those pick us back up and keep us going in the game, you know, because it gets tough sometimes. It's a dark place to be sometimes, a musician, and you dig into like the dark parts of your soul to write these songs to the stuff that you're dealing with, and you put yourself out there so that hopefully someone can relate to it. So when it comes back and it's worked, it makes that process worth it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But kind of makes the struggle and the perseverance a lot easier, because everything you've kind of been through up until this point, like, was like, that's a hell of a lot harder. So sitting here and, you know, making this is kind of like, okay, and well, I've been through this shit, you know what I mean? This is what I want to do at the end of the day. Making music and putting out a good message is a lot better than making shit tons of money and, you know what I mean, riding fancy buses and jets everywhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jim dies on his cigar.
It's so funny to say that. A lot of crazy stuff about like people diving into their dreams, and you know, it's like it's just funny. Like at the end of the day, if you can make it by doing what you love, it's a 10 million times better living, especially because it's for me, and that was hard for me, like losing my childhood, because I like it kind of messed me up a lot, because like I don't look at things the same way that normal people do. Like going to a job that is not passionate for me is hard, because I know how life can be so short. So it's like I have to believe in what I'm doing. I have to have passion in it, and I want to wake up and do what I want to do. And like luckily our music is finally starting to give us that big opportunity to hopefully do that within this next year or so. And it's been a lot of hard work, but even in the small piece of it, I've always told the guys in the band, you know, it doesn't matter if you're going to play for one person or if you're going to play for 100,000 people. If you can affect that one person, you've still pulled off what you were set out to do that day. So it's a passion for me, man. It is. It's beyond a passion for me. It's what I feel like I'm in existence for.
You have a song called "They Made Me Do It." Is that kind of where? Yes, sir. Yeah. I see you shaking your head. That's awesome.
So, are you familiar with the movie Donnie Darko?
Yeah, that's one of my favorite movies, dude. That is absolutely one of my all-time favorite movies.
Mine too.
Jake Gyllenhaal's a mutant rabbit. What can you miss? You know.
Yeah. So the whole thing started off of watching that movie, and like, you know, you question like because like I believe in God. I don't necessarily. I struggle with the concept of what religion is, because I think it's been tainted so much. But like I believe in God. That's for me. That's my personal belief. So it's kind of, people always talk about like having your path laid out. Well, that was kind of like a big thing for me. I was like, I just don't think it's as simple as that. And so going through what I went through, you know, it's like it makes it a struggle. And that one actually is a little bit about when you can kind of hear in the lyrics, it's a lot to do with like facing suicidal tendency or suicidal thoughts on some of the stuff I was going through, and like giving up, and it seemed like an easier concept, and it's not, and that's not the route. And I feel like I'm at a place now where I would never do that. But you know, you go through things. Everybody I feel like does. It's just whether or not they're openly admit it and deal with it. And I think that's what that song is. The biggest part for me is trying to let people know that there's hope out there. You know, like don't give into that darkness. Like it's okay to feel messed up. Like nobody's okay. people are better at pretending than other people. And that's what the big part of that song is for me, is just understanding like life's complicated as hell for everybody. Just reach out, don't feel like you're alone, because you're not.
That's it.
We're
all three of us have been in these positions before. And if you're watching this at home, it's okay to not be okay. Reach out and talk to someone. You are not alone. You are never alone. Like some of the positions I was in as well, I could have just given up. Instead of, now I've chatted to some of the best musicians in the world, people I grew up listening to as a kid. And for me, that feels a very positive and impactful thing, that like I was able to make these changes in my life and push forward. And not saying every day is perfect, but it's okay to reach out to other people as well. So there's my little positive message, man. How's the little EP? Right. How's the EP going, man? That looks really cool. I'm really keen. Love After Death does drop July 21st and has been a little bit since releases as well, like album releases.
Oh, it's insane. It's been a fun process. Like we got hooked up with Malcolm Springer to work on this album, and that all happened through Scotty Austin, who used to be the lead singer of Saving Abel. And it's insane. Yeah. Like the night we met Scotty and them, he was like, dude, you got to meet my producer. And I was like, all right, man, and they're super cool, super nice guys. But you run into those people and you're like, he's just being nice. He's being nice. Like he made me stop in the middle of everything going on. He's like, give me your phone, took my number. He's like, you need to meet my producer. I was like, all right, man, cool. So I was like, I didn't know who the hell his producer was. Look up Malcolm Springer. Like, holy hell, this dude's worked with some of my favorite bands, Matchbox 20, Collective Soul, like Full Devil Jacket. Like, dude, insane bands. His work speaks for himself. And it's just, it's funny you talk about like how you feel the songs. Like that was the biggest part for me, because we'd never really like worked with an in-depth producer who took our songs and like just really hammered them out. And that's hard to do itself, because you put yourself out there for people, because you're like, man, what's this guy going to say about my songs? Are we going to fist fighting? Well, by the time I made it to the vocal booth, yeah, exactly. By the time I make it to the vocal booth, like the songs are pretty much where they're going to be at. Now you're just singing to the songs. It was hard not to walk out of the vocal booth crying every night, because you hear everything you've worked towards as a song, and this guy to be able to capture it like you never even imagined it before. And that's why the vocals are so emotional. They're real. Like I was lost in these songs because like it was so easy to finally get to capture what the story was about, because the music was there from him actually helping us produce it and make it what it was, So we're stoked about this. It's the best stuff we've ever put out, just because like honestly, it's the closest to our heart. It's our stories. It's like 100% of our songs that we've been, honestly, a lot of them we've been setting on for a while, because nobody really wanted to work on them until we got hooked up with him. And he was like, no, dude, I love these songs. And he had a bunch of writers lined out to work with us. He's like, dude, I didn't know you guys could write. Like, I'm going to cancel these writers. I was like, sweet.
Wow. Some of them other producers must be kicking themselves, man, because what 5.7 thousand views on that track last day, and like 3 fucking days, dude. So
3 days,
it's definitely getting some good fucking traction and some coverage out there, which is great to see, because it is a great track and he's having a great sound. And then I see some of the footage he's playing live. It just looks like he's put on a Cuda show as well.
Oh, it's one of the first ones to play live. It's just a banger, man. Like, and it's so cool because it's so easy to catch on to quick, and it's surreal when you're out there and you're hearing people sing your song back. And it's just, that's the funnest part about it. Is like you forget to sing your own lyrics because people are out there singing it back to you, and that's been the funnest part about it.
It's just feeling.
It is, man. It's fun. It makes it worth it even more too, because like people don't just. I mean, you listen to music, words that stick in your head are songs that mean something to you. So when people are singing your songs back, you've touched people, and that makes that's an extremely good feeling to have.
That's good playing shows too. You get people coming up after the show as well and go, man, that fucking track really, as we were saying before, hit me in the feels, and they come and buy some merch as well, because I do notice you got some pretty killer merch out there as well, like a glow-in-the-dark shirt, wasn't I seeing as well? There, so it must be cool, because people forget, like, merch and all that definitely helps. Is the lifeblood for bands to keep them going, and to be able to not only be able to go on tour, but to make new albums. It's you know what I mean. It's not just streaming these days. So that being said,
and they're walking billboards for you.
Exactly. Where's the best place people can head along and support you, i.e. merch? I did mention your website.
9leftdead.com. 9leftdead.com. Either the number 9 or the NINE spelled out. Either way, we've got them both taken care of. Just whichever one you put in, it'll take you straight to not only our merch store, but it'll take you to our site, and all our social medias and everything are linked up to it.
Yeah, all the links are there. Yeah, I was having a nosy before, man. Some cool stuff on there. So what he's got planned for the release? He's got any more tracks dropping in between now and then? Yep.
Yep, we actually have 2 tracks. I don't know when the third one's dropping. I know the second one's dropping the 16th, I think it is.
Nice. Oh,
I think that is. Let me double check. Yeah, that's not this Friday, but next Friday, actually, 16th.
Mark your calendars, people.
All right.
That one's gonna be crazy because it was that was like probably the best story we have from Nashville, because we walked in to go record that song and we're like big Foo Fighter fans. So we had this punk style Foo Fighters sounding song, like we're playing it. And again, like you got to have your heart like covered up, because if you got a real producer, they're gonna tell you what they think. And Malcolm's like, this song's shit. And I was like, whoa, man, like so I was like, hang on, I wrote it on the piano. Let me at least show you it on the piano. And I showed him it, and he's like, that's it. That's the song. I was like, all right. So it's actually a ballad. The second song, even though this first one was like a banger, this next one's a ballad. It's so broken down, but this one, I'm not kidding you. I legit did the vocals in 3 takes, hit them all 3 times because the music was so perfect. I walked out, and I'm so close with Malcolm now. I talk to him about every day. Walked out, he stuck his hand out. I was like, we're not fucking shaking hands, dude. Hugged him. And that was the beginning of like, this dude's us, you know. It's like that's the guy we'll work with for forever, man. He just knows how to capture our music. And it was so funny because like I said, he hates our song, son of a bitch. You know what I mean? I was like, listen to the piano, man. He's like, no, that's the song, buddy. So he's honest, brutal honesty, man. That's the reason why he's where he's at, because he knows, he hears it, man. He's got the vision and he hears it. And he's also the only guy in the world I've ever met that can literally multitask 10 steps ahead. You just think he's like, dude, he's on this tangent talking about bullshit again. And the next thing you know, he's like, okay, hang on a second. He's like, pop, 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 pop. I was like, fuck, dude, we sitting there thinking for like 20 minutes about that shit. And it's just, he's amazing. It's just fun being around him, being in there working. And like I said, no one's captured us as well as he has. That's why we'll always work with him. And he's just a good dude, man. He's the biggest hearted guy you ever meet.
That's wonderful, man.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Love After Death does drop July 21st. You got any shows coming up?
Oh yeah, we got a bunch of them. We're actually I'm working on getting those linked up to the 9leftdead.com pretty quick. And then we've got our Facebook, which the link's on there. We post all the shows on there and some flyers and stuff. I'm gonna get that updated pretty quick. But we got a bunch. I think we actually play the 16th. We have a show. We're playing Rock the River is what it's called, out in Tahlequah, Oklahoma. And there's actually a bunch of bands. Josie Scott, Tantric's playing out there. Seventh Day Slumber, that's one of my favorite bands, been for a long time. We're playing the same night as them. It's actually like a 4-day festival. So that's our first one. We got one the 24th of this month too, back here in our little area in Chickasha, playing with Faster Pussycat, I think. So open up for them.
Nice.
So that's gonna be great.
Fuck yeah, they're cool, man.
Very cool. Yeah, for sure.
Landing some good shows there. Travis, look, this has been an absolute pleasure, mate. We would love to get you back on when the EP drops, man. Have a little bit more chat about it. Do you have any last words, shout outs, thank yous, or anything else you'd like to add in there, my friend?
Hey, I just want to say thanks to you guys for having me on. This has been a pleasure, man. I definitely will get back with you guys whenever y'all want. So definitely holler, reach out.
Awesome.
We appreciate it too. Thank you for
spread the word, man. This is cool.
Thank you very much, Travis. You have a lovely evening. Cheers, my friend.
Y'all too. Thank you.
Cheers.
Oi, you're tuned in to Jai That Aussie Metal Guy, so make sure to hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss any of his sick content. And remember, stay brutal, you legend.